Alright, so now we're on Filli Vanilli, and in this episode we find out that Fluttershy actually has a pretty good singing voice that Applejack describes as a little slice of heaven, but she's too scared to perform in front of anybody, and yeah, I'm forgetting the fact that that was kind of Sweetie Belle's gimmick after she sang terribly in the last time we saw her well, I guess the last time we saw her sing anything by herself. I'm going to assume that we're just forgetting about that, but even so, I think, like, we have heard Fluttershy sing before in front of, her friends or in front of other people. In fact, you can still call them people. I did not forget that, so, yeah. But, anyway, though, I guess, exceptions, but, anyway, so when her friends catch her singing to her, I was about to say animal friends, but that's kind of redundant. To her pet friends, how about that? But yeah, they're blown away, and Rarity wants Fluttershy to be in her singing group that we've never met before, but apparently they've been around a little while. And of course, Fluttershy insists that she can't do it because she has stage fright, and they respect her wishes. So yeah, that's all well and good. But yeah, the group, it's composed of Rarity. It's a quartet, call themselves the Ponytones, and yeah, it's Rarity, Big Mac, and then two ponies we've never met before. But anyway, though, but what happens though? I guess I'm thinking, I don't know how deliberate a choice Big Mac was, but I think it was kind of important for it to be someone we know. Although, yeah, making the other two just characters we don't. Well, I don't. You probably do by now, but anyway, yeah, I'm assuming that was deliberate, because, I mean, it can't be like everybody has been in a club we haven't heard about, but yeah, it is important for Big Mac to be somebody we know, because what happens next, he ends up, apparently, Big Mac is the 6-year running turkey call champion, and he ends up losing this year's contest to Pinkie Pie, who I guess they were just battling it out until he lost his voice, but whatever happened, that was the result. He lost his voice, and it's torn up pretty bad. But Fluttershy gets the idea for a Zecora remedy because they can't rearrange the music in time for their next performance, which incidentally is at Fluttershy's place. Yeah, to get people to come and leave with some of the pets to adopt them. But okay, so Zecora makes a cure. It won't work in time, and then she gets an idea to bring back Flutterguy from however long ago that was. It was, I think, in Zecora's first appearance. But yeah, so to mix up more of those blue flowers and get Fluttershy's voice to turn deep so she can replace Big Mac, and yeah, which Fluttershy still can't perform on stage, or the fact that it's not her voice would probably make it even worse. But yeah, then they get the idea to have Big Mac lip sync, so yeah, she can sing for him, and everyone will think it's Big Mac. So okay, that's what they do. They bring back Flutterguy, although I don't know if it's. I mean, I actually remember the Flutterguy voice being just a little deeper and a little less soft. Like, this one almost sounds a little. I don't know. Maybe it's the same guy. I have a hunch that it's not, especially since how many seasons later is this? Yeah, 3 seasons later. Okay, but I might be wrong. Anyway, though, so yeah, that's what she does. They saying it's a big success, and Fluttershy actually starts to get into it from behind the curtain. So when they get another request to sing, I mean, of course, she still doesn't really want to do it at first, but when it's for a little girl's birthday party, and when she sees how disappointed the little girl is that, yeah, they can't do it because Big Mac's voice still isn't better, she volunteers again, and then she gets into it even more, like, she actually starts to legitimately like it, and then they get another request from the mayor, and 2 performances in a row, they have all the excuse they need to duck out, but Fluttershy tells Rarity that they wouldn't want to disappoint the mayor, and Rarity, when she hears that, the expression, it's like, yeah, she kind of sees what's up, that, yeah, Fluttershy is starting to really like this, but okay, so she goes along with it. Fluttershy books them for like 8 more appearances or something like that, until finally, on the night that Big Mac's voice gets better and Fluttershy is told that it's going to be her last performance, she really gets into it from backstage, just like goes all out singing and dancing to her own voice, and then finally knocking the curtain down accidentally and exposing herself to the audience that, yeah, she's the one who's singing. And okay, so yeah, it brings her stage fright down on her full force, and yeah, she flees the scene crying, and so then it's up to her friends to chase after her, see if they can get her to pick herself up and, yeah, rise above the, even learn something from this. And okay, well, that's pretty much the episode, and 3 in a row, baby. I mean, yeah, season 4, boy, did it suddenly come on strong. I mean, yeah, this is yet another great episode, and I guess, yeah, compared to the last one, which had just a really good grasp on the characters, I thought, and the scenario they were in, and just kept throwing, like, different angles, like, just touches that just kept building to something new and something that, like, so many different directions. This one, just, like, it just sort of latches onto a couple really strong, like, really clear and really, really just well thought out notions, and just, like, just a couple of them, and it runs them all the way. Like, I mean, especially, particularly, just Fluttershy herself in this one, because, I mean, this is a good time to talk about Fluttershy as the cute one. I mean, I know that, I mean, I've gotten wind more than once of the fact that, yeah, Fluttershy, I mean, is at least a fan favorite, if not the fan favorite. How just, I mean, everybody else thinks it's so cute. To me, it always seemed a little bit sort of artificial. It's sort of cloying. I mean, just I actually kind of thought Rainbow Dash was cuter than she was, like, which, yeah, I made sure never to say that before now. But I mean, just like, yeah, Rainbow Dash, how she loves the idea of being cool, being celebrated for her talent, always trying to play that up, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, partly because of that, yeah, she's always trying to hide when she's scared of something, and yeah, she doesn't want anyone to know when she's scared. She doesn't want anyone to know she loves her tortoise, and yeah, and when she actually does get like real praise, when yeah, everyone is saying that she's awesome and she wasn't trying to earn that, it makes her blush, which just like all of that, it was so, I mean, yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of, it's, what's the word, dimensional, I guess, well, okay, I'm gonna do what I do best, and, yeah, pretentiously quote someone else here, because what this kind of reminded me of was, Roger Ebert's review of WALL-E, a line from it, that is, where he said, yeah, compare WALL-E to the Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda, he was practically special ordered to be lovable, but I mean, you know, in hindsight, what do you remember? They played up how fat he was a lot, and just, yeah, the lots of slapstick forced on him. I mean, it's gimmicky, you know, like had Fluttershy getting scared of her own shadow, like just, yeah, but she sees her own shadow and literally, like, dives behind a bush. It's like, I mean, okay, you know, you get what they go. I mean, it is cute, but I mean, it's, you know, at the same time, you're aware of the fact that nobody does that. You know, it feels like there is just there's also an aspect of it that you're kind of being manipulated, that they're playing it up to get you to, you know, and then he said, yeah, compare that to WALL-E, who, I mean, is kind of a humble sort of character. He's rusty, he's old-fashioned, he has a mundane job, but I mean, it's just like, and it's, just boils it down to the, he actually said it got back to what Walt Disney himself was really good at in the first place, just like boiling expressions down to the basic features we identify with the eyes, that why I always sort of curious and focusing on some, even if they are just like video cameras, and that kind of thing, just, yeah, stuff that we relate to, we really identify with, and that's where I said, yeah, I thought, like, Rainbow Dash had, there was a lot more character in the moments where she was cute, so that's why I kind of fell for that a little more. And yeah, and Fluttershy, it's not that she doesn't have a character, like, I mean, they do, she's not just made of cutesy moments, you know, they do sort of add a dimension to it, and like, they take her, yeah, they do take her to the third dimension, how she has to overcome, yeah, her shyness, and how she is not willing to stand up for herself, or even when, okay, her kindness can come in handy, like, and keep coming flutter on, she can play it right, but I mean, then, like, as far as being the cute one goes, she kind of turns into that mommy's girl who just, has been really sheltered, I guess, and just, like, really likes teddy bears and animals, and just, yeah, wishes she could stay indoors and snuggle those forever, and I mean, that's, they do have her rise above that, so it's like she's smart enough to know that, yeah, that's not how it's going to be all the time, and, she is willing to rise above that, but at the same time, like, from that angle, it almost comes across like she's, like, her as the cute one, it almost comes across like she's just, like, sickly, like she's, just too wrapped up in it. I mean, that feels like, I don't know, that feels like something that needs to go as much as it does something that's just cute. Okay, but you get it. Yeah, complicated issues with how they play. Fluttershy is the cute one, and yeah, not even that she's a bad character, she's a pretty good character. I mean, I do like how they've developed her. I mean, I've never even considered her as, like, the least favorite of the main characters, but this time was different. This time, I thought she was adorable. Like, I just, because this is something that's really identifiable and just really, like, sweet. Just, I mean, how because, I mean, stage fright, that's a legitimate reaction, and I mean, it's not like a played up sort of stage fright, like, oh, my own shadow! Like, played up. It's just like, how she freezes up in the spotlight, and how she's almost embarrassed to, like, put herself on the line that much, but it, like, at the same time, every time the music starts up, like, she's singing along, she just, is in bliss until she sees other ponies walking by and just kind of ducks, but then, when she's watching them, like, even she doesn't notice, she's sort of, like, shaking to the music, like, just, so lying on the bridge, shaking her butt, which I probably should have seen as really juvenile, but it's like, no, that's not even what they were going for. It's just like, Fluttershy, just how she gets into it without even thinking about it, and I mean, it's just, like, so, and then, especially when, she gets her, Flutter Guy voice and starts performing, behind the scenes, just, like, the animation on it is so good, just, like, the expressions and stuff, and the smiles, and the, singing along, and then the, realize that when she, comes back into focus, realizes that the audience is cheering, and that it's, like, almost, I mean, there's almost a hint of it for a second that, like, she did almost wish it was her out on the stage, but, that's, well, whatever it is, it's very, very expressive, and then, as it goes on, I mean, this episode, like I said, it just latches onto this standpoint from this as Fluttershy's standpoint, and just runs with it the whole time. It's just like, so much of the episode is just the Ponytones singing this one song, and Fluttershy behind the scenes singing Big Mac's part, and it's just like a big burst of joy, just like the, how she just gets, like, more into it every single time, and just, like, the ways that they think up for her to be, beyond it, like, when they're at a spa, she has to hide underwater in a diver's helmet and with a tube floating above the surface that is, sending her voice out, but I mean, and how everyone reacts to her, like, cheerily sees Big Mac, with a deep voice, he gets to the high point of his deep voice part, and she faints, which, the Fluttershy made cheerily faint, which, that's pretty darn funny there, but, if you think about it, but, and then, especially, like, as it goes on, she gets, like, even more into it, where she, the, scene where they're at the, schoolyard, and she's, like, dancing, just full-on dancing in the bushes, and adding stuff to it, like, really changing the words and playing it up, and then Big Mac has to, readjust to that, just like, well, I mean, it's pretty hard to lip-sync when you don't know what the words are, and he's just, like, trying to keep, I mean, he's pulling it off okay, but he's nervous, he's wide-eyed, sweating, and then, finally, the last performance, which, they, right in stride, how Fluttershy knows this is going to be her last time, and Big Mac, he could have taken over them, but he actually, because he's a nice guy, he agreed to let Fluttershy perform for him one more time. So, and she hugs Rarity and Big Mac when they're like, all right, one more time. And then, yeah, she's playing this up from, or like going full out from behind the curtain, just like, I don't know what kind of thing that could compare this to, when somebody just like emphasizes the set when when they're supposed to hold the same note, but instead they sing it like 4 different times, just like they're trying to rock out to it or something. Go with that. But anyway, yeah, she's doing that. Big Mac is having a tougher time keeping up than ever, and she, from behind the curtain, pushes him out to center stage. So it's like, yeah, I mean, actually, I guess there, if you think about it, that's like she would want to be at center stage, just like sharing what she can do with everybody. But I mean, or yeah, just sharing it with the world. But I mean, she kind of has to do it through Big Mac. So, but yeah, but that she wouldn't have it any other way, because if she actually was out there, she'd have stage fright. So yeah, she shoves him out to center stage, and she's playing up the song as much as she possibly can, and she's like doing mid-air dancing, spinning in circles, moonwalking in the air, so she can actually, so yeah, that's very, I'm sure makes it much easier to pull off the moonwalk. But and then she then accidentally hits the curtain, though. It comes down, and then it's like, okay, this episode then brings down the issue of her stage fright full force on her, and so yeah, there's that. And I mean, it's not like as it's not as sweet in the part where she has to, the friends run after her, and they try to tell her why she shouldn't be upset, try to help her sort of rise above this, and and I mean, it's just it doesn't really rely on sweetness as the thing. It's very matter of fact. In fact, it sort of counteracts what sweetness there is by sending Pinkie Pie in to like offset it with some lines that are exactly the opposite of helpful, which that's the note that Pinkie Pie's on this episode. I mean, she's not quite as sensitive as usual, and and that's another thing this episode sort of latches onto and runs with, because I mean, it starts out with just a virtuoso sequence with that like when we first see, that's the note that Pinkie Pie, because it's when Fluttershy is when they're trying to tell Fluttershy about how great it is to sing on stage, and Pinkie Pie runs up to her and is like, just think about it. Just think about it. Everyone on stage watching, and it's the opposite of helpful, and we've seen this before, and that is a terrible, terrible trope. I hate it. I mean, we've seen it before from this show. I think Rarity did it to Fluttershy before as well in the Hearts and Hooves Day thing. Just like, why wouldn't you want this, Fluttershy? You on stage with everyone watching your every move in the spotlight, and she somehow doesn't think that is the opposite of help, that she somehow thinks that is going to get Fluttershy excited for it when she's phrasing it exactly like that. And I think Fluttershy herself, too, did it to Rainbow Dash in Sonic Rainbow, or at least something like it. I might not be remembering that right. But anyway, that is incredibly annoying. That is so forced, and just so fake. Like, anyone actually thinks that, pointing out, of all things, that everybody is going to be watching you in the spotlight. Like, that's helpful. And now it's like, okay, now it's time for Pinkie Pie to tear that trope a new one. I mean, she, just like as a virtuoso sequence of a rant, she's like, just think about it. Everybody on stage watching you, judging you, jealously noting your every mistake, or jealously noting how they could have done it so much better. Why wasn't it them? Why wasn't it them? And then when you make a mistake, they turn on you, and then form an angry mob and run you out of Ponyville forever. Just like, yes, that is exactly how stupid those sequences are. Thank you. And it's hilarious too, because like every line she says, it's like just, I mean, totally inspired, just like, getting it, okay, let's really get into what you should be afraid of in this sequence, just like, and just how everyone is not only going to be watching you, but they're going to be judging you, they're going to be jealous of you, and it's like every little thing you could possibly scrape together that you should be worried about, just like, yeah, everybody, like, before everybody's saying it, or in the regular, when they're actually doing the trope, everybody's saying it as though the thing you're worried about that everyone's going to be watching you for them is a good thing, because, yeah, they're just thinking, oh no, it's because they're going to be enjoying you, but then the person in the spotlight is worried that, okay, no, they're going to be watching for a mistake, and then, yeah, in this parody, Pinkie Pie's pointing out, yeah, no, they are going to be looking for a mistake while somehow thinking that this is going to help Fluttershy. It's like, they are going to be looking for a mistake, and they're going to be really obsessed with it, because they were going to be really jealous of you, and wondering, why wasn't it them? Why aren't they in the spot? And then, oh yeah, and then when you make a mistake, and then finally, yeah, just taking it to completely, like, off the charts, just, like, over the top, yeah, scenario that's never going to happen, but just is, yeah, you should be more worried than ever, because then when you make a mistake, not only are they going to judge you for it, not only are they going to, use it to validate themselves, they're going to form an angry mob, and then they're going to run you out of Ponyville for just, like, every line. It's, like, just so clear exactly what they're going for here. I'm just like, yes! It was hilarious. I was laughing, like, for every second of that. That was, virtuoso. And apparently there is some backlash to Pinkie Pie in this episode, just like, that, no, they just think that this is the trope over again, and Pinkie Pie is just being extra insensitive. I'm just like, ooh, true genius is never appreciated in its day. But, okay, but then, like, as the episode goes on, I did sort of start to have more of a back and forth reaction to it. It's like, okay, Pinkie Pie is sort of insensitive this time around. But no, I guess the only time I really had a problem with it is when they start sort of replaying the same note, like where she's, they go to apologize to Fluttershy, and instead Pinkie Pie is crawling up the wall towards her, like, wow, you, were totally in the spotlight, living your worst nightmare, and just, like, all over again. And that's where it's like, okay, I mean, if you know how a trick is done, then you can see it, then the magic is gone. And yeah, that's the same thing you did at the beginning, so it's like, okay, now you're just repeating the joke. It's not as funny that time, but, you know, at the same time, when they're chasing after her, they're like, Fluttershy's, she runs out into the streets crying and sobbing, and everybody's running alongside with her, like, one at a time. You totally blew my mind. You were amazing. And then she climbs up onto the roof, and Pinkie Pie is there, but instead she says, but no offense, you kind of sounded like a dude. And she runs away crying, and it's like that kind of stuff, like just how she throws off the sweetness that you'd expect the episode to be going on in sort of an obligatory sort of a fashion. It's like, yeah, it's still pretty funny how she throws that off, how she is just, like, blatantly honest, because, and it's tied to how she's Pinkie Pie. It's like, okay, I can accept that this is the mood she's in this month. Pinkie Pie, who's very id-based, just, yeah, doesn't do impulse control very well, just how she is not necessarily trying to be mean, but is just happens to be noticing this sort of thing today, that, Fluttershy sounded like a dude, so that's what she feels the need to comment on right when you think the episode is going to go totally sweet and, cheer up Fluttershy, which, okay, yeah, I did appreciate those, like, how this is the note Pinkie Pie's on today, just, yeah, how she throws this off, and how she makes fun of the moments that seem obligatory. And I mean, it's and there are moments where it's like, okay, maybe that was a little too mean, and there are moments where it's like, okay, maybe they're just sort of repeating the joke here. It wasn't really funny that time, but no, overall I think it was, like, or even if it wasn't over, it would be worth it just for the moments that were really, really funny, like that first one. But okay, but no, I think it works. I think, yeah, this episode's clever like that. Like, the line with Rarity right after the Ponytones' first rehearsal before Big Mag loses its voice, and Fluttershy says, like, I'm so excited to hear you perform, and Rarity says, oh, I know, I do love when a plan comes together without any sort of drama. Like, see, this episode's clever like that. But, and especially in the ending, too, where, they don't rely on just, like, sweetness. It's like, okay, Fluttershy, she does sort of have to, overcome the hard feelings by herself, but what the friends do provide is the reason she should. Rarity comes in and she says, and for all Pinky's babbling, she was right about one thing. You did live your worst nightmare. You faced it, you did it. So was it really that bad? And I mean, it brought her fear down on her full force, so of course she's going to say that it was, but then they keep going. Everyone's like, okay, well, what was so bad about it? Everyone was applauding you and praising you, so I mean, is it really something that happens on the stage that you have such a problem with? And and that's the other thing worth noting too, that Rarity is pretty good in this side role that they give her, just how she's able to empathize with Fluttershy. When Fluttershy starts asking them more than once to accept these offers, saying like, we wouldn't want to disappoint the mayor, I believe, and Rarity makes this face just to herself, like, sure, that yeah, she gets it, but but she's not going to call her out on it because she's a good friend like that. She knows that it's good for her, so it's good for Fluttershy, so all she has to do is just let her have it. Just keep letting it happen, and so well done on her this time around. But, but then in the scene we were just on with, what was really so bad about it? They don't say anything else, they just cut away, and they cut to Fluttershy singing with the ponytones, combining her song from the beginning of the episode with their song that they've been singing throughout most of it, and coincidentally, they fit together really well, but she really enjoys herself, and they zoom out, and the only ones watching are the friends and the pets, so just a test run to see if Fluttershy can do it. They're like, okay, so how do you feel? Well, she says, surprisingly, not bad. So then, okay, we can book you on a Ponytones concert now, right? And instead she dashes behind the curtains like, no, there's no way I could go that far yet. And I'm like, oh, come on, I get after we just... But when she comes out, she says, well, I'll get there someday, everyone, but for now, baby steps. And it's like, wow, that's actually a really mature and intelligent sort of a point to leave off at, because, I mean, that's true, like, phobias, insecurities, I mean, it's true, they don't just disappear the second you decide to confront them, or just after the first successful test run, because I mean, it is all in your mind, but I mean, that's, mind's power over the body. It speaks to something that, like a path you've been on for a while, just from one mindset, it can be really difficult to transition to another, just like seeing a whole other perspective that you're not used to living and whatnot. So I mean, that's I think that's a really smart message to send to kids, just like you don't have to overcome it on the first try. You won't always, but I mean, as long as you're willing to, then okay, that's the important part. As long as you keep trying, you keep building towards it, that's what's important. Because like Fluttershy says that, okay, in the journal at the end, she's like, okay, if you flat out just run from it, just like, nope, never gonna do it, it's like, okay, you are kind of suppressing part of yourself. You're hurting yourself, and you're not letting yourself do what you love. So, I mean, for where this episode ranks, I guess it is pretty simple. I mean, I did actually really appreciate this. I didn't mind that they had the song going for so much of it. It's just a montage on how Fluttershy is having so much fun with this, but I mean, it's just like a burst of just joy. Like, back to what I said last time about how, picture worth 1,000 words, actions speak louder than words. It's just like, so much sort of positive emotion comes through with it, and I mean, it just they fit it right into what this episode is exploring with Fluttershy. So, I think this is my new favorite Fluttershy episode. I mean, before it was Keep Calm and Flutter On, which had like really creative animation and really great character moments with Fluttershy and Discord. But like that was just a really great outing for both of them. This is sort of an episode that getting right at that is Fluttershy in essence. It's not just conflict you can throw her into and how she overcomes it. It's like, no, this is like really diving into her character. And Keep Calm and Flutter On, and even more so this one though, are the episodes to finally just be great in the way that I always thought Fluttershy's episodes should be, but never quite were. They like range from like okay to just pretty good, but not quite great. And I mean, it's like now that, yeah, it's like they found something a little more genuine. And, well, actually, I won't say that none of her episodes did that. Like, what, the Dragon Shy and the putting your hoof down, they also latched onto at least something genuine, but with sort of, like, corny type moments along the way that I thought didn't work. So, okay, yeah, I think this is my new favorite Fluttershy episode, so bravo there, season 4. And the next one is Twilight Time, so take care, see you there.